Alright everyone, welcome along. Summit for the weekend. So in Power BI, when you're doing your analysis, one of the things that often is nice and supports and helps people understand context about your data is to be able to see how does your value, your record, the bit you're filtering to compare to everything else. Alright everyone, welcome along. Summit for the weekend. Today I thought let's have a look at some comparison things. I did want to kind of draw a line under this, but I realised that we'd missed it from the sessions that we were doing before. So you're going to have to forgive us, but one more time, and probably it'll make sense, we're going to revisit the COVID data stuff because we need to start to look and I think put on some more information to help with the context. So let's cut an hour into the Power BI desktop and see exactly what I'm going on about. Alright, so here we are. It's nice to be able to see cases over time, isn't it, of COVID. What's happening? Now, one of the things that we get with this is the ability to really see at a local level what's happening. So if we were to pick on Newcastle, for example, on Newcastle, we can see the case rates over time. But how does that compare to the national rate? Is that good? Is it bad? What's the context of that data? So the way we would do that would be, well, let's put in a national rate. And I can do that here. So we've got, so here is the national case rate right here. So if we pick the right thing and we choose to drag the national case rates on underneath there, right? And straight away you'll see a couple of things. Firstly, it's a lot more squiggly, up and down, right? And that's because we smoothed out with a 7-day average our local case rate. But what we can see here is I can now go and I can say, all right, well, let's go back to Newcastle. And we can see relatively across time, actually how Newcastle is doing compared to the national average, or the national case rate, not average, it's case rate, okay, which is the average of national EI, yeah? So that'll help more. I can now understand a lot more about what's going on. So how can I turn this round and make it work for us so that I can see at any given time really what's happening with my case rates? So I think there's two things to do, isn't there? Firstly is we need to put the 7-day average piece on it. See if you guys can remember how to do it. I'm doing it one way. There's lots of different ways of doing it. You might disagree with the way I do it. That's fine, right? And then we're going to make it so that if we haven't got anything selected, it's not just there cluttering up everything, right? Which I think gives a much cleaner look and really emphasizes what you're wanting to show. So let's start first, yeah? Let's pick our national case rates. Let's expand this down a little bit, right? So you can see, okay, it's not too difficult, is it? Right? So we've got this national case rates. So to make it a 7-day average, let's firstly add this, okay? The first date, which is going to be the latest -7. Remember we did this before? So we're just minusing 7 from it. Power BI is smart enough that if it's a date and you're -7, it takes 7 days off it. So we've got that. So then what we can do is we can say we want to use dates between. So case is no age and we need it to be the dates for there. Okay, so we're going with the dates between the first date and the latest, isn't it? Not last. I normally do last for that. First and latest. Okay, so we've said, right, show us that, and that's going to smooth out that line straight away. So if we go back and we have a look at the chart, that's a smoother line, isn't it? Oh, it's smooth, isn't it? So we've got it there, yeah. It looks a little bit smoother, not as smooth as I'd like. It's definitely a bit odd. Okay, But it's definitely, it is a smoother line. It's probably with all the national variations, it's still going to be a little bit uppy downy, isn't it? We could check, we could check. Let's check. What I'll do is I'm going to copy this. National 7 equals that. VAR national equals that. This time what we'll do instead of the latest, we'll have that, okay? So now we can return national. Okay, so we've got the national 7. It does look smoother. It does look smoother, but I'm not fully convinced. I don't like it. To be honest, I don't like it. The next step though is is the fun bit, isn't it? Okay. So we've got this all worked out. We've got now the variables for the calculation. So what we need to do now, what we want to be saying is if open brackets, the logical test is going to be has one value, and that's then going to be location, area codes, anything like that. It's fine. If it's true, so there is only one area code. So let's say we've clicked somewhere on the map, right? Then we want to return. Let's return the national 7, so the 7-day average. Otherwise, let's return a blank. Okay. So how does this now look? If we come back to our Power BI. So we've got a place selected at the moment, we've got Gateshead. If we remove Gateshead, if we remove somewhere, it goes away. Oh, disappeared. So it's not cluttering up my chart now, and I can see clearly what's happening. So if we select it, it comes back. Right, this is very good. I can see that. Now you could repeat this with the vaccine uptake as well. So you'd be able to see when we pick somewhere, what's happening with that local area and see exactly what it is. So what I'll do is I'll add those now and we'll come back and you can tell us what you think. All right, so there we go, yeah? Got this set up now. If I was to pick Newcastle, you see it now shows additional lines. So we can now see actually what's happening. First dose for the national rate and the local rate. Yeah, that's brilliant. And then even better, we can start dropping in additional stuff. So actually what's going on for the cases for below 30 and really start to understand what is happening across our area with the COVID. Okay, this technique, it works very well. You can see we've already used it a couple of times with this filtered piece here for the vaccines. We've got 2 different use cases on it, 2 different filters for it. One around this age select piece. If we have a look at that, it's a little bit more complicated, but hopefully you can see that what we've got really at the bottom is this blank, and it's just saying where it meets the blank, it's blank. Okay, so the technique works in many, many different ways, but it all comes back to that simple principle of I want to come back and be able to present something that allows people to assess quickly and easily a comparison of what's happening. And you need to be careful. You don't want it to get too busy. Like this is probably getting a little bit busy, but I think it's important that you can see we can mix, we can match, we can do a lot with this technique. So what have you reckon then? Context and how to really encourage and drive and make it more usable within the report, of the context of the report, is something that it assists your consumers immensely. Okay, if you think about that in terms of, oh, I'm doing a report for a school, you want to know, is little Stevie, is he above average, is below average at anything? And we can do that because we can have little Stevie's marks against everyone else's marks, and we can see And then we can say, oh, what about by age, and see how that goes. And, it's all those little things that you click. Okay? You can do it across workplaces. What products are selling? How does the sales of that product stack up against the sales of all products in that category? Because that has one filter. It doesn't have to be and show me all. It could be about a show me subset. So where the product, it's one group of products, one product category versus the all products category. It's so you can have multiple lines appearing on your chart. So as we showed, we had two different sets of lines doing two different sets of things, but it all appears on the visual. When you click away or you clear it all, they disappear. So that's key, isn't it? Brilliant way of being able to access your data and make it really speak to the user base. And what that does is it really emphasizes that the interactivity of Power BI is what we should be striving for. Yeah, take us away from that static report view, that stuffy old-fashioned way of looking at things, and bring us into an interactive way, encourage that exploration of the data, encourage people to find their own insights into the data, and really get more information out of than what you can. Because I might know an awful lot about what's going on within the companies I work for or work with, right? But I can almost guarantee it, every single one of them, there's going to be somebody down at the coal faces where grassroots who's going to know an awful lot more about what that company actually does than I am, and probably than a lot of the board. So, I hope you're enjoying it. Yeah, I'm sorry we dipped back into COVID, but honestly, it is something that is a worry, right? Do go follow that report, keep an eye on it, yeah, because honestly, I didn't want to get back into lockdown. None of us do, but we need to be careful, right? Realistically, it's a 4-week turnaround if they do start changing things. So that's where they're looking before they say, oh, we're going to have a lockdown, is 4 weeks in the future. And the projections are starting to look bad for 4 weeks in the future. So I would be sensible, mask up, do all that stuff, yeah. Sanitize your hands, all that good stuff. Not nonsense, it's good stuff in it, right? But, take care and all that. So stay safe, take care, yeah. Keep your hands clean, keep your mask on, right? Have a great weekend. Ta-da.